Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking Friedrich Nietzsche's profound philosophical insights and translating them into a highly practical guide for your everyday life. We're going on a really fascinating journey into human behavior to unmask a very specific kind of manipulation, one that's cleverly disguised as a virtue. Get ready, because we're about to decode the masks of false honesty. Section 1, The Illusion of Honesty. Let's just dive right in by asking a pretty simple question. Have you ever met someone who is proudly, quote-unquote, brutally honest? You know the exact type. They're constantly claiming to tell the truth, they proudly announce how much they literally hate lies, and they supposedly value authenticity above absolutely everything else. And yet, somehow, every single conversation with them just leaves you feeling judged, confused, and honestly, kind of manipulated. So why exactly is that? Well, according to the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, the answer is actually quite simple, but it's also deeply unsettling. You see, not everyone who speaks loudly about the truth is actually being truthful. Some people use honesty as a weapon, while others use it as a disguise. And it's those who use it as a disguise, the ones who completely convince everyone around them that they are the most honest person in the room. They are often the absolute most dangerous individuals you can possibly encounter. Moving on to Section 2, Weaponizing the Truth. All right, we're going to systematically pull off the first mask of false honesty here, which is all about the outward behavior of cruelty. Think about it. When someone claims to be brutally honest, notice how the heavy emphasis is almost always on the word brutal. This brilliantly illustrates how, for these specific individuals, the brutality actually becomes way more important than the honesty itself. They absolutely love the shock value. They actually enjoy making other people deeply uncomfortable. It's like they use honesty as a free pass to say the horrible things no one else would dare to say. But make no mistake about it, this is not true self-mastery. This is just a raw desire to dominate others, completely masked as a virtue. And this brings us to a really critical distinction. Nietzsche believed that true strength actually means speaking the truth to enlighten. A genuinely honest person, they want to build you up, to clarify things, to genuinely help. False honesty, on the other hand, uses the truth purely as an excuse to wound, to criticize, insult, and humiliate. So when someone's truth consistently leaves this massive trail of emotional destruction behind them, they aren't demonstrating strength at all. They're just hiding their cruelty behind a socially acceptable shield. Now pay close attention to their absolute obsession with exposing everyone else. They spot every little mistake, they point out every single weakness, and they laser focus on your failures. But there is a massive, glaring omission here. They entirely avoid self-examination. Nietzsche considered self-overcoming to be one of the absolute highest human achievements. But let's be real, seeking superiority over others is just so much easier than confronting your own imperfections. Basically, they're pointing the finger outward so that absolutely nobody looks at what's going on inward. Which leads us to Section 3, The Performance of Authenticity. Going a bit deeper now, let's look at the complex social behaviors of these psychological shapeshifters and see how virtue is so frequently turned into a cheap performance. Have you ever noticed that truly honest people kind of just live their lives? They don't need a giant billboard announcing it. But falsely honest individuals, they are constantly reminding people how honest they are. They talk about their authenticity literally all the time. And why is that? Because they desperately crave recognition and admiration. Nietzsche warned us that virtue often just becomes a performance. The people who speak the absolute loudest about their honesty are usually the ones trying the hardest to convince others, and honestly probably secretly themselves, that they actually possess it. So it really all comes down to a crucial difference. Are you serving approval or are you remaining faithful? Falsely honest people are essentially social chameleons. Around one group of friends, they'll boldly express one truth. But then, around a totally different group, they'll express the exact opposite. Their core beliefs just shift constantly depending on who's in the audience. Nietzsche, he deeply admired individuals who remained faithful to their core convictions. A person who is constantly changing their so-called truth just to fit the vibe of the room, they aren't serving authenticity, they are merely serving approval. And here's another major red flag to watch out for: revealing secrets in the name of transparency. These individuals love to claim that they're completely open books. They'll share private conversations, highly personal details, confidential matters, just making the whole shebang entirely public. And they package it all as radical honesty. But Nietzsche reminds us that true wisdom actually includes knowing exactly when to just remain silent. Spilling everyone's deeply held secrets isn't a sign of high moral character. It is literally just irresponsibility disguised as transparency. Section 4. The hypocrisy of the ego. Now, we reach the internal hypocrisy of these individuals. This is the ultimate test of character, and it reveals exactly what happens when the truth stops being convenient. You really want to pay close attention to this dynamic. As long as honesty benefits them, they embrace it completely. As long as the truth makes them look brave or smart or superior, they'll celebrate it all day long. But the very second the truth pivots and threatens to expose their own weaknesses, well, their tune completely changes. Just watch what happens when the truth actually threatens them. Suddenly, all these excuses just appear out of thin air. Elaborate justifications start to emerge. And personal responsibility? It just entirely disappears. Nietzsche astutely noted that true character reveals itself not in comfort, but during moments of deep, genuine discomfort. Because, let's face it, absolutely anyone can value the truth when it's easy and it benefits them. But very, very few people value the truth when it actually costs them something, when it actually hurts their ego. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Serving Truth versus Serving Ego. Now that we've torn away the masks, we really need to clearly separate the illusion from the reality. Let's give you the exact philosophical tools you need to spot the difference moving forward. False honesty is incredibly dangerous, precisely because it borrows the exact same words, principles, and outward appearance as real honesty. But let's compare them side by side. Look at the motivations. Real honesty is driven by true courage, but false honesty is driven by a desperate need for superiority. Look at the actions. Real honesty bravely admits its own flaws, while false honesty just gleefully exposes the flaws of everyone else. And in appearance, real honesty is lived quietly and humbly, whereas false honesty is always performed loudly, right on stage for an audience. As you can see, the underlying motivations are just completely inverted. So what does real truth actually look like? Well, to be truly authentic in the Nietzschean sense, you must achieve self-overcoming. And doing that demands tremendous courage. It's the courage to face yourself completely, the courage to look right in the mirror and admit your own flaws. And perhaps most importantly, the courage to tell the truth even when it actively damages your carefully curated image. You basically have to evaluate yourself with the exact same critical, unforgiving lens that you're applying to the rest of the world. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. The next time someone proudly and loudly announces to you just how brutally honest they are, I want you to pause, look past the performance, look past the cruelty, and ask yourself this single, penetrating question. Are they serving the truth, or are they simply serving their ego? Because once you truly understand Nietzsche's profound insights here, you will never forget that the loudest claim in the room is rarely the deepest truth. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep questioning what's behind the mask.